You guys asked for it. You guys got it. My dad, aka Brent, aka the GOAT, as you guys call him, is back to recap another Montreal series victory. This one against Winnipeg. So he made a video, sent it to me, and I'm going to put it into this video. You're going to see it in a couple of seconds. And I thank you all for the nice comments on the last one. I appreciate all the nice comments for him, and he appreciates them as well. He mentions that in the upcoming video. I like that you guys like him. And it really makes the community special for us. So thank you for that. And this one's a bit of a long one. It's over 14 minutes that he sent us. And he goes on a bit of a rant in certain parts. So if you're familiar with the GOAT, you will like this video a lot because this is very classic GOAT. Very analytical, but the rant is in there as well. And it's a pretty good one. So I think you guys are really going to like it. And if you're new, Dad has joined me for probably over half of the videos that I've ever made on YouTube in the past 4 years or 4.5 years, I guess it's been. So if you're new, welcome, and I hope you enjoy it. All right, Dad, take it away.
Well, here I am again. What happened? Why am I here so soon? Did this really just happen? I'm still trying to process Monday night's game. I'm talking to you after about 32 hours of thinking time. Winnipeg is a good hockey club. They were missing some important people. There's no question. The Scheifele loss was big, and there were others that weren't playing to their full potential. But they're a good hockey team. They beat Edmonton in 4 straight, and Edmonton's a good hockey team. So they didn't give the series to the Montreal Canadiens, but the Montreal Canadiens took the series. They put their foot down, and when they had Winnipeg down. The second period was, getting a little scary in that fourth game because Montreal, once again, just like they did with Game 5 and 6 in Toronto, they had a 2-goal lead. They looked like they were well on their way to winning the game. Then Winnipeg scored twice. And it was tied 2-2 basically all the way through the third period. And funnily, I didn't feel worried or nervous. I had a feeling that what was going to happen was going to happen. But it was really important for Montreal to close that game down and to win it in Game 4. Because I think if they'd let it get to Game 5 in Winnipeg with a hometown crowd of a few hundred maybe, or maybe a couple of thousand, then that would have given Winnipeg quite a boost. And it might have made them more competitive in Game 5. And after that game, if Winnipeg had won, then it would have been a 3-2. And then coming back to Montreal, they're coming back with Scheifele, who has now served his suspension. Game 6 would be a toss-up, and Game 7 is back in Winnipeg under the same conditions as Game 5, except now they're back home, they have a crowd, and they have Scheifele. So I think the imperative of closing it down in 4 games was real for Montreal, and I think they knew it. But the whole way through, I wasn't really nervous. I knew that even if Montreal did lose the game, they still had 3 other chances to close the series out. It would have been tough, but it would have been possible. And I also just felt okay. Now, I'm not saying this is 1993 again, where Montreal won 10 in a row at one point and 10 or more overtime games. When Montreal went into overtime in that series, you just kind of knew they were going to win it. It made no sense. There is no physiological reason for that to happen. But it did happen. And, as Canadiens fans and as hockey fans generally, we all have our superstitions. Neil has talked about it. I've heard people on the networks talking about it. I've heard players talking about it. And whether superstitions actually change the outcome of a game obviously is highly doubtful, virtually impossible, unless it's the player's own superstition. The players are actually on the ice. They're playing in the game. If they do some kind of ritual, which skate they put on first and all that jazz, if they do that and it makes them feel better, and then they go out on the ice feeling better, that kind of a habit, that kind of a ritual might have some impact on the outcome of the game. But a fan like me, sitting at home wearing my lucky hat, which now is 7-0, by the way, 7-0, and my lucky hoodie. This is also part of my uniform. I don't know if too many of you know this, but the last few days here in Prince Edward Island and Atlantic Canada generally, we've been in a heat wave. Both Monday and Tuesday, with the humidity, we were close to, if not a little over the edge of 100 degrees Fahrenheit, or plus 38, 39, 40, 41 degrees Celsius. So it was hot. And I put this on, and Neil's mother said, "You're going to wear that?" This was Monday night. I said, "Yes, I'm going to wear this." And I did. And it's a good thing I did. I'm just kidding. But this is my uniform. This is what I wear. Luckily, I watched down in the man cave, which is in the basement, a little cooler than the rest of the house, so it wasn't that bad. But this lucky hat is just something I do to feel better for me. And wearing this jersey, I feel better for me. I know it doesn't affect the outcome of the game, because I've worn this hat before, and they've lost. And I've worn this pullover before, and they've lost. So I know it's not magic. But I don't know, there's just something about Superstition that's kind of fun, isn't it? So this series, 4 games, Montreal decisively dominated the first 3, and really most of Game 4. I think Montreal, like it was 42-16 or something, were the shots in Game 4. Carey Price, I think he should have had at least one of those goals scored against him, maybe even both of them. But hey, give Carey Price a bit of a break here. I think he is the man. And I closely watched the Vegas Golden Knights and Colorado Avalanche Game 5 in Denver. And of course, Vegas won that game. And now they're going home. I don't know when you see this video, but they're going home to Game 6, up 3-2, and they could close it out at home. And they just might. But I looked at both teams to see if I could see weaknesses, because I'm trying to see my team, the Montreal Canadiens, playing either of these teams here in a few days' time. And there are weaknesses. There are weaknesses in the game of Colorado, and there are weaknesses in the game of Vegas. With Colorado, they've had some behind-the-door problems. The coaches had to come out and say some things. Grubauer may be a little shaky by times. Certainly Fleury on the other side, he's been a little shaky too. That first goal he let in from Colorado, like with 0.8 seconds to go in the first period, when he reached across to try to get the puck with his left-hand glove when it was going over his right-hand shoulder, rather than just do a blocker save, with no time left in the clock, the rebound wouldn't have mattered if he'd done a blocker save, and the blocker's right there. Like, just things like that. Like, they're not perfect. These goalies aren't perfect. The teams aren't perfect. I saw giveaways. I saw just dumb plays. I saw missed passes. Things weren't as crisp as they could be. And I actually think that playing either of these teams, Montreal will not be embarrassed. They'll be competitive. They likely won't win the series, but they might win a game or two. And I know I said this before, and they ended up sweeping Winnipeg. But I think Montreal might win a game or two. I think that, things could tilt. Playoffs are just crazy. People can have oddball injuries. Look at the injury to Jeff Petrie the other night, where he jammed his 2 end fingers of his right hand into the hole in the glass that's made for the camera lens to come out. I've never heard of that happening before, but of course it happened, and it happened to Jeff Petrie, who needs that right hand probably as much or more than anybody else on the team. So, things like that happen to my guys, and they happen to the other side's guys too. And I don't know what's going to happen here. I'm very impressed with Max Pacioretty from Vegas. He's really come along nicely in the playoffs. He's playing extremely well. But I've seen Max Pacioretty when I was cheering for him, and he's hot and cold. And if he gets a cold spell, he's just useless. And I don't know if that cold spell will come during any series against Montreal or not. Colorado could still pull this out, though. They could win the Game 6 in Vegas and go back home. 5,000 feet in the air. They're used to the high altitude. Maybe the other teams aren't. That's one of the things I'm a little bit worried about if Montreal ends up playing Colorado. 4 games at altitude that they're really not used to. So I'm a little worried that that's an added factor that may be running against any visiting team in Denver. But we'll see. They'll have 3 games at home. All the underdog team has to do is win 1 game on the road and close out their home games, and they've won. So who knows what'll happen. Anyway, I'm just absolutely thrilled to death that Montreal not only got into the second round, but handled Winnipeg nicely in that second round, and then to score it in overtime, and the way the goal was scored. Suzuki digging it out, Caulfield going around the guy, throwing it out to Toffoli. Toffoli just tap, and it was gone. and the excitement on their faces. And Bergevin, like he's a pretty straight up and down guy. He was losing his nut standing at the players' bench. He was hugging guys and slapping them on the back and jumping up and down like a child. You can see how much they feel this, and that you can see how much they need it. Every team in the 31 teams in the league wants this so badly. Now there are, as I'm taping this, there are only 6 teams that still have a chance at winning the Stanley Cup, and my team is one of them. And I can hardly believe it. But it's happened before to other teams that were underdogs, weren't expected to go deep. Carolina wasn't going to go deep in 2006. They won the Cup. It happens a lot. And who knows what will happen this time. So I'm very optimistic. I'll be watching every game, obviously. If they end up playing in Vegas, if Vegas goes through the series, I don't know what the league will do to try to get the games on a bit earlier. It's not really fair to the fans in Vegas to put a home game on at 4 in the afternoon, but it would certainly be nice to the rest of us, especially those in the Atlantic time zone, where the game itself would probably start at 11 p.m. our time on a weeknight, and I'm a working man, so that could make things a little tough. I don't want to tape the game and watch it later. I really do want to watch it live, but I got to say, watching it live has really taken a lot out of me. I don't know what it's like in American TV, but the commercials on Canadian television are absolutely abominable. They're terrible. There's only a couple that I like, and the rest are garbage. The Tim Hortons ad, the first time I saw it with those ad for those mini sticks that Neil has now, the first time I saw the ad, I thought it was cute, but to see it every single commercial break, and sometimes twice in a commercial break, the same people saying the same dialogue, like, I'm done. I'm absolutely done when I see that stupid Tim Hortons ad. And there are several others that are just stupid. The Rakuten ad isn't bad because it's got music to it and it's very catchy. And I only see it maybe once or twice per game. But TV coverage, the TV commercials have been awful. And the TV camera coverage itself has been just terrible like it's always been, at least in the Canadian TV, I got to say. Most of the face-offs you don't see because they're showing some idiot replay or a picture of some coach or a player spitting on the bench. You don't see it, and then they cut to the face-off. Sometimes you can hear the puck hitting sticks and hitting the glass while they're still showing you a replay. Then they eventually cut to the play and on the live cut on the ice. And of course, those corner cameras are absolutely useless. You can't follow the play when they switch to those cameras. So I hate that with a passion. I talked about it a lot already before, so I won't bore you any more than that. But I think we are deserving of so much better coverage from our millionaire broadcasters, and so much better when it comes to commercials and variety and creativity. Look what the Super Bowl does with commercials. People look forward to the commercials. Well, I tell you, Canadians don't look forward to hockey commercials because they're just garbage. I do watch the national network instead of the local network because the local commercials here in Prince Edward Island are even worse. They're just terrible. And when I'm watching the game live, I can't avoid the commercials. I can mute them, but I can't not be there when the coverage comes back on. I have to be there. When I'm taping a game and watching it later because I don't care so much, that's easy. I can skip past the commercials when I'm replaying it. But man, oh man. And I just going to end with one thing. I'm a Montreal fan, and I know how awful Montreal fans can be. There is not a fan base, I think, in the world. Well, that's excessive. Let's say there's not a fan base in the NHL where the fans themselves know as much about the game as everybody on the ice, including the officials, including the broadcasters. The fans know everything that's going on, and they watch everything. They're absolutely obsessed with this hockey club, and they should be. And I am, too. But fans can go overboard, and sometimes in ways that really make me feel not too good. They got a little rowdy outside the Bell Center after the win on Monday night. One guy had a broken tree and he was carrying it through the crowd, and someone let off fireworks right downtown. It's just darn dangerous to do that. It's just kind of dumb. But the thing that bothered me the most about the Montreal fans was the one guy in the Bell Center with that fake tinfoil version of the Stanley Cup holding it up in the air in the crowd. And the camera cut to him a few times. And I'm just shaking my head. Like, why, dude? Why bring a Stanley Cup in there? You don't get to lift the Stanley Cup over your head, boy. And your team doesn't yet earn the right to lift the Stanley Cup over their heads either. So don't bring it in there. You don't have the right to have the Stanley Cup in the arena even a fake one, and hold it over your head, you haven't won nothing, dude. Leave that crap home. If you want to race the Stanley Cup over your head, do it after they actually win the darn thing. That'd be nice. And who knows, if that's not this year, it might be soon. I'm really thrilled with this roster they've got. Toffoli for 3 more years. These kids, I'm excited. Anyway, that's enough of that. Montreal beating Toronto was probably one of the greatest moments of my hockey life. Montreal sweeping Winnipeg is a close second. And who knows, maybe my 2021 of joy is not quite over just yet. I hope you're all enjoying hockey, whichever team you cheer for. I've watched the comments after my last little blast here, and I really appreciate the support that you show in the comments for me. It's great to connect with you all again. I'm never that far away, actually, and Neil and I are in communication basically constantly, so I'm always involved, and I watch all of his videos as well, of course, and comment occasionally when I think there's a reason to do that. So take care, everybody. Thanks for having me on again, Neil. Be safe. Soon we'll be traveling again. Things are looking up all the time, and we'll see you around.
All right, there you have it, and I completely agree with him on the Tim Hortons commercial. I bought all 6 of those. I put them on our podcast set. That comes out every single Sunday. If you're not subscribed to the podcast channel, it is linked down below. It comes out on iTunes, Spotify, audio, all the good stuff, and then on YouTube as well in video format, the full thing. So we'd love it if you could join us over there every single Sunday for a podcast where we talk strictly NHL news for the most part. But yeah, I completely agree with him on those Tim Hortons commercials. They are dreadful. They're sometimes, like you said, they're on twice in one commercial breaks. Like, it's too much. It's way too much. Like, in the run of a game, you see that commercial probably 10 to 15 times, and that's unacceptable. So it's stuff like that makes me want to boycott companies, even though they make cool stuff. They make the little hockey sticks. I'm not really a huge fan of their food, but they make those cool little NHL sticks, which I bought. But man, it's enough, Tim Hortons. Just tone it down, would you? All right, guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Dad, thanks for sending that video in. If you guys want to see Dad again in the future, hey, maybe Montreal can win the next series as well, and he can do a recap. Or even if they lose, maybe he can do a recap too. If you want to see that, please leave your comments down below letting us know. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Adios.